Hey everybody, welcome to Isn't That Pretty? You like the birds? Well, Average Guy Opinions. I'm your average guy, John Corelli. Today is June 5th. I am going to my father's. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I expect, what I would like to happen, but what will most likely happen at my father's house. I've often reported on him briefly, and I know probably a few months ago I talked about a day in the life of going to his house. You can probably hear my cat meowing. He wants to come out too. Uh, okay, so here's what's going to happen. It's about 10 o'clock now here, Mountain Standard Time on June 5th. In about half an hour, I'm going to head up to Thornton. I'll be there around 11. We will go to the bank. This is what we usually do on a Saturday. We will go to one bank, then another bank where I don't know what this man is doing. And I probably shouldn't even be saying this in a public forum because I don't know. You never know. Someone that might have an issue with me might try to come after my dad. But we go to one bank, we cash a check there, take the cash and deposit in another bank. Seems weird to me. Seems very Italian to me. But it's his money. He can do what he wants with it. I'm guessing he has some sort of plan here to save money and, if he needs it, use it until the day he dies. Which I'm not trying to be a jerk about. This is the harsh reality. That day probably isn't very far away. He rarely has any energy to do anything. He is in what I call, I'm going to go through that mode, which I experienced 11 years ago with my grandmother, and actually from 11 to 15 years ago with my grandmother when she was 80 to 84, right before she died. All of us, and luckily she wasn't a big hoarder. She didn't have a lot of room to hoard. She had an apartment, but she still did have stuff that was crazy. I remember one of the things she had was some like crockery teapots and teacups, teaware, whatever you're going to call it, hot drink accoutrement. I don't know. Anyway, so she had these things in a box, and she'd had them in a box a very, very long time because when I opened this box and look in, this is after she died because she would not let us take this stuff. She either felt it was valuable, but I was like, well, why don't you just put it out and just enjoy it? That's what possessions are for, in my opinion, not to put away and maybe hope they're valuable someday. I don't do that. I have a stamp collection, but I enjoyed doing that when I was young, and so I will probably sell it someday and hopefully make money on it. But that's not why I did it in the first place. I did it because I found it very interesting. Uh, that's the only thing I have that's like that. So when people do that with like crockery and stuff like that, I find it very odd. These are household items that you're supposed to use, but for whatever reason, I think it may have been handed down to her. She thought it was valuable, whether it was sentimental value as well, which is quite a possibility. But anyway, so we go into the box, look into this stuff. It's wrapped in newspaper. Newspaper is from 1973. Nixon's still president. I'm reading articles about Nixon and maybe the impending impeachment in 74, but I was like, holy, it might have been 1974. It's like this newspaper, this is back in 2010, so this is what, 36-year-old newspaper? It was crazy. And so that's the journey I'm on now. Dad doesn't have, like I said, doesn't have a lot of energy. He's not very healthy, and he is in. Oh, I got to go through that mode. It's like, Dad, I'm pleading with him. I go, Dad, it's a box of books you haven't read your whole life. You're not going to read them now. Maybe take one out of a box, because that's the reality of the situation. Is that you don't read anymore, and if you do, you're not going to read a whole box of books. Hell, give the box to me. I'll store it where I can store it at my house. And if you want one of those books, we'll have a list, and I'll bring you the book. But for you just to keep it and keep it and keep it, and what are we going to do with it? Are we going to sell this stuff? It's another thing that's a little frustrating for me. He has acquired, I'll just call him a guy, because I don't know what his profession is. I don't know if this is a hobby or what he does for a living. But this guy apparently sets up estate sales, which I think me and my kids could do very easily. Just get the shit out, get it out all on the floor. I worked retail. I know how to run a shop. Get the stuff out, put some price tags on it, say, hey, no haggling because this is an estate sale, and sell the shit. I think I may have mentioned this before too, that he has one. There's only one possession I really want, maybe kind of two, but the one I really want is a Lenny Bruce poster he had back in the '60s. I don't know if he went to this Lenny Bruce concert or if it was just on a on a utility pole somewhere in New York City. But it's just a cool little poster, a little flyer, and for me doing comedy, this is really close to my heart. And Lenny Bruce to me being the ultimate pioneer in comedy, this is what I want. It's just this is on the scene, Lenny Bruce, and it's got just a black and white, and Lenny Bruce is like this with his arms spread out. He had it framed when I lived with him back in the '80s. I haven't seen it since. He's convinced I have it. I do not have it. If I had it, it would be prominently displayed in my home, every home I've lived in. So no, I would never have lost that thing. Um, he also has some comedy albums. I've mentioned in the past that he and I listened to those when I was a kid. It was highly inappropriate, but that's a gift that keeps on giving, because I was letting Logan watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia when he was like 8 or 9 years old. Also wildly inappropriate for his age. The comedy gift that keeps on giving, I suppose. But yeah, so that's where I'm headed today, and it'll be an interesting thing. It's weird because he never offers to buy lunch. It's like, if I buy lunch, he's like, "Can I get some of that?" I'm like, "I thought you were the dad and supposed to buy," or at least in this situation, right? I know there's a time, there's a pendulum swing where the kid starts buying stuff for the adult instead of reverse, which is fine. But in this case, I'm really helping him. This is a big help I'm doing, or at least attempting to do. Like I say, I'm gonna just get into a mode where I go, "Here's a box. Here's what's in it. Let's go through it." You've been saying I'm going to go through that for 10 years. Literally, I wish I was kidding about that. He's been saying that for a long time. So we're in go through it mode. On the other side of I think this is a perfect setting for the mindset I'm trying to get in. Trying to really get zenned out here. And just, hey, if nothing gets done today, I've got my kid with me. Logan's with me. We're just going to sit. We've got our phones. He's got a TV in the living room. We can watch. We can do whatever we need to do to get through this day. And if nothing gets accomplished, well, nothing gets accomplished. He did say he wanted me to get a couple computers out. I guess a guy's coming over tomorrow to fix them for him. I don't know why a 74-year-old man who is on his way out of this mortal coil needs more than one computer, but I'm going to try to convince him today that he only needs one and he should have the other one. Just get rid of it, or have, if he's really paranoid, get the memory wiped. Another unusual thing about this process is the sudden invocation. I don't know if that's the right word, but my aunt is suddenly involved in this. I think invocation is the wrong word. I'll look it up. But my aunt, who I've mentioned in the past as well, most famously, she produced The Deer Hunter. Her name's Joanne Corelli. You can look it up. She also produced The Sicilian and Heaven's Gate, which unfortunately is one of the biggest flops in Hollywood history. Whereas The Deer Hunter is one of the biggest successes in Hollywood history. But she's very well off, very well off. And my dad's like, "Well, she may be sending you some money." And he didn't put that in a context that I'm comfortable with. It's like, okay, I don't know what that means, but awesome, thank you. That would be great if you would send me some money. Don't try to scam my aunt, by the way. She's too smart. I know I put her name out there, and we're in an information age where you can do things, but don't even try. She's Italian. She's too fucking smart. She's too smart for me. She's too smart for you. She's very savvy. I mean, hell, if she avoided one of the biggest flops in cinematic history and came out unscathed and frankly very well off, then she can certainly avoid any two-bit scammers that try to ask her for some money. But it is unusual because I am wondering, what kind of money am I to receive? Why am I receiving it? Because I haven't been in contact with this woman my entire life. She left as soon as she was of age. She's the oldest of the 4 kids on my dad's side of the family. She got out of there, which was very smart, because that family's crazy. My dad's proof of that. My uncle's kind of proof of that. My other uncle unfortunately died of AIDS back in 1988. But it's an unusual family I'm part of, on both sides. Mom, I'll get to your side someday, but because Mom watches all these. My dad doesn't watch these, so that's why I can be a little harsher on him, I guess. Anyway, so that's my day. I'll be heading up there. I'll be in Thornton, and so it'll be interesting. We'll see you guys next time. I know that wasn't a very exciting one. Maybe this will be a two-parter, by the way, because I will report afterwards what happened. All right, thanks, guys. Bye.